Welcome to another video. Today's video, gonna get started on the front suspension on the 1971 Dodge Challenger RT. Stay tuned.
Music bed.
So first thing, I put some air on this tire that always goes flat. I'm gonna get some jack stands, get it off the tires here, and take both front wheels and tires off, and just start taking the front suspension off. So I'll have to take control arms, the K-member, everything out of there, shocks. I'm gonna try to take off the brakes, everything, all one assembly. So let me get that all kind of started, and then I'll show you guys what I'm doing next. I have the car on jack stands now, so I am ready. I'm gonna take off the front tires there, and I'm probably gonna start up here. So the shocks here on top, these are the control arm bolts, so they're on both sides. Then once I do that, I'll move on the bottom and start taking off, I think probably like the K-member bolts here. I think there's 4. I know I have to remove those strut or torsion bars, and so I'm hoping that once I have this down, they'll kind of pull out of there, but we'll see what happens there. Everything's kind of rusty and seized in place, so I might have to really motivate them to come out. But start with the tires, these bolts here on top, and then move on. Alright, so I went ahead and took the control arm bolts on both sides, the shock nuts here, wheels off. So I think the top of the suspension should be pretty close to coming off. I'm gonna take off these nuts, these big bolts here, which hold the K-member, and after these are off, the whole thing should drop, I'm thinking. So we'll figure it out. And it's gonna come out with everything all attached, brakes and everything, so all one piece. Went ahead and unbolted the K-member, so there is the 4 bolts. We did have a problem on this side here where the the bolt is okay. I mean, they're all kind of a little rusted, but the nut that's on the frame let go of the frame, so it was spinning. So we had to kind of put a chisel in between to shim it, and little by little to get it to come out. It finally came out, so that's good. Now to put the other K-member back on, or the aftermarket one, the coilover suspension, I'm gonna have to probably just cut like a small hole in the frame and either weld the nut in there, or just, you know, put a nut and put a wrench in there. That's just gonna have to be what it's gonna have to be. So kind of no way around it, because the little nut is loose in there. So if I put it back in there, it's probably gonna spin, and you know, that's not dealing with that. Anyways, I'm gonna get like a sledgehammer to hit the torsion bars, and hopefully they come out, and then this whole thing is just gonna roll out of here.
We unlocked the cylinder forward.
Well, yeah, I mean, there's not a lot of weight, so hopefully it's just gonna everything fall out. This came out pretty simple, except for that bolt. If that would have cooperated, the whole thing would have been out probably in like 20 minutes. So just so you know, and there's nothing, I mean, there's no, maybe I could have, there's a hole over here on the frame, but there's no way to see that nut where you can kind of spray any kind of WD-40 or anything on there. So I'm gonna grab a big sledgehammer, see if we can knock those out, and then we'll show you guys afterwards.
Somebody up by, I think.
All right, so got this control arm off. Free tip Friday. Hey, it's Friday. The loosen the bolts here on the torsion bar key, take it all the way off, and once you do that, it makes it easier. You just hit it right in this area and it comes off a lot easier. If you don't take the bolt off, it has pressure on it, so it kind of binds it up. So just so you know,
So you use this tool right here.
oh yeah, and we have this nice motivator here. These are the little bolts, and then the torsion bar is in here. This should in theory come out of the hole over there forward. I'm gonna go down there and just probably hit a little bit, but at this point everything is out of there, so there's a lot more room here now. Obviously we're gonna put the coilover kit, but taking those torsion bars off and everything, I'll probably take the, well, I might leave that steering shaft there for now because we know that's kind of where it's gonna end up. That kit comes with the little universal joint to adapt it to the new rack and pinion, but that's gonna be more on the front area here. So we're just gonna take the rest of this front suspension off. It's in one piece, but put the bolts back in there. I'll probably see if someone wants to buy it. I mean, I know it's old, but someone that wants a factory K-member with the gearbox, everything is here, you know, spindles and everything. I don't want to just junk it, you know. So anyways, I'm gonna put all the bolts back in here, kind of move that out of the way, put it on marketplace, you know, Facebook. If I put it for 100, I'm sure someone will offer $1, and we'll clean up all that rust that fell out.
It was raining rust for a second.
And we'll start bringing out the QA1 pieces out here, lay them out. And I am gonna have to cut a hole in the frame like I mentioned before to put a nut in there, and I'm almost thinking of doing that for all spots. So maybe I can reinforce the frame, you know, around the hole, but just keep a little slot so I can put a wrench in there, because all of the bolts were pretty hard to come out with the impact. And so now I'm wondering, well, what if on the way,
threads on that baby,
and even the bolts are kind of worn out, as you can see here. This is one of the better ones. Most of them, this top ½ inch, there's no threads. So what if I'm trying to put it back on and some of them start spinning?
there you go.
You know, yeah, here's one of the other ones, and this one came out good. This is not the one that was broken, but as you can see, I'm almost, you know, want to spend a little bit of time, cut out some little slots in there, buy some new nuts, and then just or at least that way it's, well, I don't know, maybe buy new bolts, because if they're not broken, I guess don't mess with it. But the one for sure I have to. The other three I might just, if something breaks, I'll get to it. But maybe when I'm cutting the hole, I'll just cut the access holes on all of them, and that way I can weld like little reinforcement pieces around, and that way it's ready. If they ever break, I can put a wrench in there and just take them off. So anyways, we're gonna get everything out of here, clean all this rust, and then start figuring out the new suspension. So next, got everything all clean under here, and so I'm gonna go ahead and remove these bump stops. So there's a couple of spot welds that I have to drill out to get these removed, so these get, both of the bump stops get deleted for the kit. Looks like there's a couple spot welds here, here, and here, so I'm gonna try to get those drilled out and then take these out on both sides. Okay, so went ahead and took off the bump stops. So there's 6 spot welds on the side here and 2 more on the bottom side that you have to do, and then just kind of knock them out of place. I didn't mess with that brake hose, but at some point that's probably gonna all be changed, and I might just get a new little clip. I don't know, that might work, but anyways, with the new brakes I might just kind of move this a little bit more out of the way. But what I'm gonna do now is we're gonna kind of clean up here a little bit with the grinder. These spots, probably just fill them in with the welder, and then figure out the bolt here, because we're ready to put that K-member in, but we have to make sure we have this figured out. I think technically I could probably, I need to check the threads, but I think I could probably, because the the hole here is kind of big. I can weld here at the end, but I think I'm still gonna make the access hole to go on the inside anyway. So but that's what the next step there.
All right, guys. So Alex went to go take care of something real quick, but as you can see, we got the grinder here with the little grinder wheel. Went ahead and cleaned up where we had drilled. Obviously this one we went a little too much. Just to clean up a little bit. I might do a little bit more on this one, just that way we can fill it in with the welder. Also went ahead and did the bottom down here, that we can fill in those holes. And then the nut that was bad is right here. Where is it? But I don't know if Alex wants to make a hole on the outside or the inside, so I'm not gonna grind anything around that yet. So what I'm gonna do now is go to the other side, do the same thing, just grind off all the old rust and grease and whatnot off of there. That way we can fill in these holes everywhere, that way there's no weak spots on there. So we'll go ahead and do that on that side.
Okay, so went ahead and got this painted, and this is just kind of temporary so it doesn't rust. Anyways, we're ready to put the QA1 Coilover Suspension in here. Everything's all clean. I did cut this hole here. Like I mentioned before, I went and got some hardware, some new bolts, and I'm gonna put new bolts on all of them because the other ones were so bad, like pitted, that I don't want the nut that's on the rest of the frames to be messed up. So I'm gonna put new bolts. Now if the other ones mess up, I'll do the same as here. For now, I'm just gonna put the nut in there, hold it with the wrench. Like I said, once I am ready to, I'm gonna replace some of these metal later on once the car's running. I could maybe weld that nut or do something, but for now, that's, you know, just to get it on there. So we're gonna pull that subframe for the coilover suspension and then mount it on. And that's the main piece of the coilover suspension going in there. So we're just gonna, one of us on each side, get the bolts started and mount it on there. Okay, so finally got the piece in here. All the bolts are torqued to spec, 150 foot-pounds, and you know, we had the little piece for the wrench here, so looks good. A lot of room, you know, nothing on the back to get in the way of your headers or our headers, oil pan, like linkage. You know, the rack is going to be down here, so a lot of room now. What we're gonna do is start putting the control arms together. This is what it looks like under here. So we have the mount for the lower control arms, the upper control arms go in the factory location, and then this is where the coilover is gonna go right here. I'll get rid of this rubber piece for the original shock, and eventually we'll see once we put the Coyote back in here, but I may cut this right here because that's gonna give me enough room for the control arm bolts and everything. But I'll cut it here all the way around, and I'll just put a piece, you know, a piece of metal flat and flat this way, and so that'll give us more room right here where the headers were supposed to go, if I need it. I don't think I will end up needing that anyways. And then same with the shaft, we cut it, but that cleared the header, no problem. But that one we have to cut and put the U-joint style for the new rack and pinion. So we're gonna get the control arms put together and then put him on here and see how it looks like. Okay, so I went ahead and got the control arms all ready. So these are the lower, got the ends, all the nuts all put together. These are the uppers, same thing. These have the nice joints on them with the adjustable bolts. So now that we got these on there, we're gonna go throw them on the car, on the coilover suspension, just to put them in there. And then we're gonna probably put together the coilovers and put them on there. Okay, got the control arms on. Those are not too bad. This top one was a little bit hard to get the little spacers in there, but I went ahead and got it in. So they went ahead and went in, and then the bottom went in as well, pretty good. So now I'm I'm gonna get the spindles and mount them on here. This is the coilovers here, so we're gonna go ahead and assemble them. But those are the springs and adjustable front shocks there. Very nice. Alright, so here's the coilover kit all installed with the spindles. I still need to do the rack, but I am gonna do a manual rack on this, so I'm waiting for the manual rack and then I'll finish doing that, because there's an extender and you have to cut the ends with that. But this is all pretty much done. I'm gonna get my jack it up from the front and put jack stands here on the control arms, just so that, and I don't technically have to do that now, but just to put some weight here on the front. Maybe just put like a jack stands here as well, but this is pretty much all set. Unfortunately, I can't put my tires back on because I don't have a, well, I have the spindle here, but I don't have brakes that would fit this spindle, so that's gonna be next. This is a Mustang 2 spindle that comes with the kit, so I have to get brakes to fit that to mount some tires and wheels on it. But overall, that's all the kit there. I think that's pretty much as far as we can get to today before getting our brakes and the manual rack. So that's pretty much it. Here's the old junky parts. We're gonna probably have to move them here so they're not in our way, but that's pretty much it. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you have any questions, comments, leave them below. This is getting closer to, you know, getting kind of starting to put the Coyote back in there, but the next step is going to be to get some wheels, tires, brakes on here, and then I have to do the rear as well. So we'll see what the rear is going to look like in the next couple months. Hopefully here soon I can get the rear done and move along. So stay tuned for that. Subscribe to the channel. We'll see you next time.